Spring is a time for new beginnings, and scotch is a drink for quiet celebration. Putting the two together on a sun-drenched deck behind your own home makes for one of those moments in time that should be savored. This was that moment. I had waited 5 years for this day and was going to take my time to savor every minute of it. When I bought this place 2 years ago, I went in search of the most comfortable chaise lounges on the market. It was my gift to myself. I bought 5, and to them I bought 3 small tables, so I always had somewhere to put my glass. Of course, I had the obligatory round table with chairs of the right height for dinner, had a grill, and invited friends over often enough. Plus, tonight my brother and his family were coming over for burgers. But this hour was reserved just for me. I was celebrating freedom and revenge. It had been 5 years, 5 long and sometimes agonizing years since the betrayal. I've had 5 years to think about it, to try to understand, but I'm still no closer to an explanation. I guess that's the way it often goes. One person is happily married and their spouse is looking for someone else. One doesn't understand anything, and the other knows everything and doesn't tell anyone. She was a master of deception. Everyone loved her. She was the married daughter my parents cared for, and not a soul in the family escaped that terrible feeling of betrayal when she left to marry her lover. There was no warning, no clue, no hint, nothing to tell us she was leaving. How can a husband be so blind and not notice the lies around him? In all the time I've pondered this question, I've come up with only one answer. Trust. It's no more complicated than just trust. When you trust someone, you don't look for lies. If she tells you she works late or meets with the girls from the office or goes shopping, you believe. If she showers after work, it's because it was hot in the office and she wants to be clean and nice for her husband. Trust is blind. Trust is stupid. Such thoughts could keep a man awake at night. I was immersed in my thoughts when I heard the French doors open and my brother Tom came out of the house onto the deck. "How long have you been sitting here alone?" "Only about an hour. It's been a long, cold winter and I've let the sun warm my bones." "You sound like Papa." "Daddy knows what he's talking about. It's funny how the older I get, the smarter he seems." "You weren't so happy with him when he caught you in the basement with, what was her name?" "Cheryl? Oh no. That was a bad day." "How old were you?" "I was a senior in high school. Cheryl took off her top for the first time and I was over the moon. Dad saw us, his eyes widened, and for a moment I thought he wanted to get involved himself. But he just shook his head, said, 'Get dressed,' and went back up the stairs. I was embarrassed, but Cheryl was overwhelmed. I took her hand as we walked up the stairs and promised her that I would support her with Daddy. She was shaking like a leaf. I remember turning to face Daddy and saying, 'I'm sorry, Daddy, but we love each other.' He just shook his head and said, 'Not yet, but maybe someday. It's not love until you can commensurate it with all the immutable realities of life.'" What did he mean by that? "I'm still not sure." Then he looked at Cheryl and said, "Cheryl, my wife and I couldn't think better of you if you were our own daughter. But this boy's hormones are raging and you have to get him under control. Do you understand?" She nodded her head, unable to stop shaking. Then he said, "Believe me, I understand, but you both have a long life ahead of you and you must be sensible. I'm sorry for barging in on you, but that's part of life too." "Did he actually apologize for catching you two?" "Yes, he had a few more words for me after I walked Cheryl home, but he apologized to her." "Wow, I've never heard my father apologize." "That was the only time." "What happened to Cheryl?" "We dated for the rest of that year and then the relationship fizzled out. Dad was right. It wasn't love, but it was the best case of lust in my life." "She married a banker or something, didn't she?" "He's some investment type. I met him. He's a nice guy. At least he seems that way. Cheryl's happy. They have 2 kids as far as I know." It's funny the twists and turns life throws up. In fact, I got a very angry phone call today. "Yeah? You don't know anything about that, do you?" I didn't answer anything, but my smile gave me away. "You waited 5 years?" "I figured it wouldn't happen right away, so I was patient. I started hearing stories. She was here. He was there. Each of them was with someone else. I decided the time was right." "So you hired a private investigator?" "Hey, I'm a busy man." I couldn't suppress a smile. "You knew this was going to happen, didn't you?" Once a cheater cheats, he'll always cheat. When a cheater marries a cheater, it's just a matter of who cheats first. My brother looked down at his feet and shook his head. What exactly did you do? I sent her a copy of the private investigator's report with pictures of what he did and sent him a copy of what she did. Then I sent copies to her parents, her sister, his parents, and the company they work for. Tom enjoyed the mental image he was creating. I have to tell you, she was furious. She called me every name in the book and a few more that I think she made up. I chuckled quietly to myself. So she's not happy with me then? You? She thinks I did it. I'm sorry, Tom. I should have signed them. Don't you dare. Let her think I did it. Hell, I want her to think I did it. This was the best day of my life since my wedding to Marie and the day she told me she was pregnant with Julia. Neither of us could contain our laughter. So how much do I owe you? Nothing. Are you sure? Hey, why do you need brothers? We spent the next half hour enjoying our drinks and talking about our young and growing families until we heard the front door open and young feet running down the hallway. The girls had arrived. Soon, Tom's wife, my wife, and our two girls were on the deck telling us about their shopping trip. We tried to listen, nodded, marveled when we thought the moment was right, and then received kisses from our women as they returned to the house. By then, the sun was setting, and Tom and I decided to go inside. Soon after, our parents arrived with Tom's 2-year-old daughter, and we heard a whole bunch of new stories, with my parents telling all of us what wonderful and amazing things this child had said today, and the older girls showing their grandparents all the new outfits they had bought. Every child deserves grandparents. We ended up grilling hamburgers and baked potatoes outside, and the wives made a great salad to go with the hamburgers and potatoes. It was the perfect ending to a very good day. It's funny how wives pretend they don't know what their husbands have been up to and then take it out on you. I was wiping the last of the plates when she said, I heard about that little prank you pulled today. Aya? I was on my best behavior today. I heard you threw a bunch of bombs around town. I heard Tom's ex is really upset. I tried not to look proud, but I failed. Just getting a little revenge on the cheating bitch who deserved it 5 years ago. She looked at me for a long moment, as if trying to decide how she wanted to proceed. Then she kissed my cheek and said, You're right. She deserved it. Family takes care of family. Are you going to bed? I'll be up in a minute. Jimmy? Yeah? Have you calmed down yet? Yes, I think so. She never felt the pain when she betrayed Tom. Now she feels it. I guess I was a little vindictive. Tom went on and found a really good woman. He was happy and put the pain of his first marriage behind him. I was the one who never got over the betrayal. Should I regret what I did? No, I didn't do anything. I just let a little light shine in the darkest corners of their lives. Delayed revenge? Well-deserved revenge.